Well, hello and good morning, everyone. Good morning, our conscious cruisers. Welcome in. Happy Monday morning to everyone. I am Scott from Controversial Cruising. To the right of me or the left of me, depending on where you're watching, uh, Chet from Sea Leg Journeys. And then down below me here, I have Elisa's Adventures in Cruising. Today we have episode number 6 of the Conscious Cruiser, and we are going to be talking all about know before you go cruise cabin choices. So we'll be back on the other side of this.
Welcome into the Conscious Cruiser podcast, the know before you go approach to cruising and travel. The smartest cruiser is the Conscious Cruiser. And your conscious casters, Elisa, Chet, and Scott.
How we doing, guys?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, diving into the podcast. Yes, happy Monday. Happy Monday. How was your guys' week last week?
The week was good. It was busy, but a good week.
Good. Mine was not just good; it was good enough.
Good enough. And right back here to another episode of the Conscious Cruiser. It seems like these episodes they kind of come around so fast, and Monday comes around so fast. And I've been reading some of the comments. I've been reading some of the emails for the show, and people have just been absolutely loving it, and we have been loving it too. So we are very glad that everybody is enjoying the show as much as we are producing it and recording it and getting all the information out to you guys. So thank you everybody for the wonderful messages, and thank you to my wonderful co-hosts that are here making this so possible for the Conscious
Monday mornings are more exciting now. Something to look forward to.
And your Mondays just got double as busy because we can see you twice on Monday.
I know.
That's right.
I love it. Okay, so this topic is kind of like one of those preliminary topics. I think this is one of the hottest questions after somebody thinks about booking a cruise or actually books a cruise. And ironically, I've had a couple friends in my life who are kind of first-time cruisers, and now they know that I have a YouTube channel and have podcasts and I'm really into cruising. So this question has really been, what cruise cabin do I choose? Right. And I think that this is different for everybody. This isn't like, okay, you should book this. This is the best. I think it is on a case by case basis. And I think there's a lot of good information out there and misinformation. And between the three of us, I think we're really going to kind of bring light to the situation of how to really properly know before you go on that site or call your travel agent or even book it yourself, that choice of your cruise cabin, because there are a lot of cruise cabin choices, right?
There are. Yeah, there are. There really are.
You got interior, you got Oceanview or Porthole, Oceanview.
Yeah,
right?
Oceanview. Mm-hmm.
Oceanview. You have balcony. You have suites. You have junior suites. Am I missing any? The big ones.
The sky's the limit on the suites, apparently.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. You got the family townhouse on Royal Caribbean.
Oh my God, the family townhouse.
We'll talk about that later.
I've seen videos on the internet of that one. I mean, oh my God, it's like I first of all, I wouldn't be able to afford it, so you would never see me there. But I mean, I don't think I would ever want to leave if I did get to actually book it. And I believe there's enough places to hide in that cabin that no.
I think they'll find you.
Yeah.
Don't, it's not worth it.
All right. So let's get into talking about choosing your cruise cabin. So our first question here to kick off our podcast is the know before you go booking your cruise cabin tips. When choosing a cruise cabin, what kind of things do you like to consider, or what should you consider when you're booking a different cruise category or cruise cabin? Elisa.
Yeah, I think there like you said, there's so many room categories, cabin categories, and especially if you are a first time cruiser, you don't really know what to pick. But one of the really cool things I think on every website for the cruise lines, they have the deck plans and they have pictures, and sometimes even the 360 room tours so that you can see what the different categories look like. So I would definitely take advantage of those features on the website and check it out and see if that helps you narrow down your choices.
That's a great tip. Yeah.
Great tip.
Yeah, well, we do that ourselves. I think one of the things you want to consider is, who are you cruising with? Are you cruising by yourself? Do you want a solo cabin? Or do you want to go ahead and pay a little extra and get a full cabin to yourself? Are you traveling with just your wife or a girlfriend or both? Or are you traveling with your bunch of kids? You know, there's different things you want to know who you're cruising with to help you determine what kind of cabin you want.
Absolutely. I think that is very, very important. You know, also too, once you start looking at, cruise deals, there's different kinds of cruise deals that are around different kind of cruise cabin categories. So let's just say they had an extra amount of interior cabins, right? You're going to see a little bit of a cruise deal, maybe in shoulder season, very, very often, very, very not so often in wave season, but mostly in shoulder season, you're going to see these cruise deals for different cabin categories, right? So if price is definitely a factor for you, I would definitely try to sit on those cruise deals, right? And hey, sometimes you can get an ocean view or a balcony for even cheaper than the listed price for an interior. And I know it sounds crazy. You're like, how are they going to give me an ocean view or a balcony for cheaper than an interior? Well, guess what? I've been there. I've booked it. And I thought it was a whole hoax at first, I didn't. Yep. But no, it was really true, right? Because they have an excessive amount or they have extra amount of a category in cruise cabins where they have to sell one. And obviously, right, a cheaper room seems a little bit more attractive to a first-time cruiser. So they want to try to keep those, lower price rooms open. It's a marketing gimmick, but it's also great for people that are looking for those lower cabin price rooms. So it's definitely looking for those price deals and also thinking about who you're cruising with. Here's my number one rule. If I'm taking a first-time cruiser and they're okay with it, I'm going to try to book us a balcony, right? Because I want them to have that experience. I want them to go out on that balcony. I want them to be like, wow, this is what cruising is. After that, they can choose for themselves whether they want a balcony, whether they don't want a balcony, whatever room they want. But if they're coming with me, I want them to have that experience. And I've seen so many of my friends walk out and be like, can we go out there? Yeah, this is our room, man. Like, oh wow, what? We get to be out here for 5 days. I'm like, yeah, you could do everything you want out there, just you can't sleep out there. And like, wow.
Can't sleep out there.
It's amazing. So I really do think it is on a situational basis, and there are a lot of different rooms that can give give great experiences depending on who you're cruising with. So great tips all around. And I always forget, Elisa, that you could do that 360. I always forget that.
Yes, that's a great thing, especially if it's a cruise line you've not traveled on before and you're not really sure, or you haven't yet cruised at all and you just really don't know. Also, of course, we all have our individual channels and we do the cabin tour. So you can check on YouTube for folks who have cruised that ship and possibly that cabin before you. So that will help you as well.
Oh, the YouTube videos are great for helping you pick a room. But I wanted to add another point, though, for people who got kids out there. This isn't my niche in cruising, but if it is yours and you got that coin, go ahead and get that Royal Caribbean townhouse that Scott likes to book for himself. It's only $80,000 a week, and it's booked all the rest of this year. And all
party on Scott.
Yeah, you can't book it till after midway through 2025 because it's booked.
Everyone's invited.
Amazing.
But yeah, if you got kids, something to consider on your stateroom. is if you got small kids, that's when you may want to avoid the balcony because, kids like to climb and you don't want them climbing up that rail. So maybe get a window view for them kids is what I'm thinking if I had small kids myself. And do you have more than 4? You got 3 kids and you and your wife, and it's just too much for the cabins that typically only hold 4, then maybe you want connecting cabins. That's something to consider too.
Connecting cabins. So the doors, I've actually had these. So the doors are actually like this, and then they both open. So obviously, if one person wants privacy, and they can lock the door, but you can have them both open where you can go in between the cabins. I've had that, which is really nice too for families and teens and things like that want their own bed, but the parents want to make sure that
it's something people don't always know about, and they're like, "What? We could have booked our cabins side by side, and opened our doors. That'd been great."
Yep.
And it's also that, speaking of families, also something that folks might not know, especially if it's a first time cruise and first time taking your family, that the size of the cabins are different. So an interior may not be comfortable for a family of 4, even with the a bunk bed situation. So you want to know how big it is and who's going on that top bunk once they pull it down, because most adults, those days of climbing up there are behind us. And you want to make sure there's comfortable bedding for everybody.
Right. And a smaller child, you might be able to get away with it, right? If it's a family of 4 and it's 2 small children, fine. And they're younger, cool. But if you have 2 teens and you're trying to go into a 4-person interior, that's gonna be crammed. It's gonna be crammed.
We've done that before, Scott. We took our 2 teenage grandkids with us, 4 in that cabin. It was a tight little cabin. But I've got another note for you too, though. If you're solo, we were just on Norwegian Breakaway, and a friend of ours, thanks Charlie, by the way, if you're watching, he was in the solo area. And guys, it's a whole separate part of the ship. You got to have your key card to get in there. Nobody else can just wander in there. You have to be a solo to get into this hallway. And then all the cabins are down a really neatly lit hallway. And there's special cabins made for one person. And they were very nicely set up. And they had their own separate little like a little bar in there, a little place where they bring in snacks and food, a meeting place, so that you could meet all the other solos, cruisers, and hang out and meet each other in that one area away from everybody else.
It looks really cool. I've seen that too.
I want to go.
And at a better
We'll
price.
open a tab here. NCL Breakaway. No, okay. I'll definitely check it out though, Chet. That I had no idea. I thought it was just solo cabins. I mean, I knew they had solo cabins, but I didn't know it was like that. I think that's really, really cool, especially as I guess I don't travel as much solo anymore, but I definitely do have opportunities to still travel solo. And I think checking that out would be really cool. So
shameless plug here. I'll have a video coming out on it next week.
Okay, we'll be watching for that.
I love it. You want to know what? Shameless plug. I think it's time. Chet, today's podcast is going to be sponsored by Sea Leg Journeys, and talking about those cabin tours and talking about all the fun things that Sea Leg Journeys has to bring us in the cruising world. Let's play this.
Hi, I'm Robin. This is Chet, and we're Sea Leg Journeys.
That's right. So come on with us, and we're going to show you the ships, the ports, and the excursions that we do while we're cruising.
You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, and of course, YouTube.
That's right. So come on and join us on all the fun things we're going to do. We also have live shows Wednesday and Friday morning at 8:30 Eastern Time and Sunday night at 6 p.m. So come on and join us there too.
And don't forget, we have a wide variety of videos on YouTube, from everything from the food, to the rooms, to the excursions, to the ships.
That's right. So come on and join us for the fun here at Sea Leg Journeys. Woo!
Thanks, Sea Leg Journeys.
That's right. And we will have to check out that solo NCL breakaway cabin tour or cabin or solo showing on Sea Leg Journeys on YouTube. So thank you very much, Sea Leg Journeys, for sponsoring and supporting today's episode. Let's talk about. Oh, okay. So let's flip it a little bit. Okay, let's give some awareness and talk about some know before you go cruise cabins to avoid, or cruise cabin categories to avoid, or let's share a story where you've had a cabin where you want to know what, I'm not booking that cabin again. Chet, why don't you kick us off?
Well, all the cruises we've done, we have had a couple of noisy rooms. Yeah, we were under the nightclub one time on a cruise. Early on in our cruising experience, we didn't know. And of course, we were up there dancing, hooping, and hollering too. But we left about an hour before it was all done, get back to our cabin, ready to go to sleep. And we're laying there like, man, the party's still going on up there. So if you go to bed early, you might not want to book one underneath the nightclub or the Lido deck where they're dragging chairs around all night.
Very true. Very true. Location is key. Location is definitely key when you're. So wait, did you know that you were booking under the nightclub, or was that one of them that you just booked because it was a cheaper deal, or you just didn't look?
I was on the cheap. We were looking for the cheap deal, and that was the cheap deal, and I found out why. It didn't bother us though, really. I know a lot of people it would. It didn't bother us because usually we were up in the nightclub until it was closed or just about closed. But if you go to bed early, like we kind of do now, probably wouldn't book that cabin again.
Got it. Good tip. Elisa, what cruise cabins would you avoid?
Well, Chet kind of stole mine, but I'm gonna keep going with that a little bit. I try to avoid the Lido deck myself, but for a slightly different reason. The Lido deck is normally where they have the swirls ice cream on any ship. That's like my weakness. I love some ice cream, and I go for the soft serve. So I figure I shouldn't be too close to it. I need to give myself some distance. So I don't book a cabin on the Lido deck. But to follow up on what Chet is saying, if you are worried about the noise from the Lido, from the nightclub, even from like the atrium or one of those big open areas where everybody gathers, I would either go 2 up or 2 down, so that there's a row of or a floor of cabins in between to be the buffer for you if you have the choice.
Yep.
That's good.
I like that.
Yeah.
Good tip. Great tip. So, okay. So I guess mine is going to be for the people who are most afraid or who do, battle some seasickness. Mm-hmm. If I am booking a cruise cabin, okay, and I still do this even though I don't really experience seasickness, I just like the location of this cabin. But if you are somebody who deals with seasickness or are worried about motion sickness, I would avoid booking the back, the aft of the ship, and the bow and the front of the ship. Okay. Absolutely. Meaning I would book it right in the middle of the ship. Any of the middle decks right in the middle of the ship is going to be your best, right? So avoid those outer, right? Because the boat is going to work this way, right? And think that middle is going to be the least rockiest. So you want to avoid the bow, and you will want to avoid the aft. If you are someone who is, thinking that they may get motion sickness or they're prone to it, right? Also, echoing on the noise too, somebody that is worried about noise or has small kids, I would probably stay away from elevators, booking doors or cabins very, very close to elevators, or staff doors. And most of the time, the back and the front are going to be the heavier traffic staff doors, meaning the people that are going to be coming through with, the carts of blankets and carts of towels and supplies and things that you might hear, because those doors are going to be opening and closing at 2 and 3 a.m. because they're working. You're sleeping. I get it, but they're working, and then that is their shift. So they have to get the boat ready, and they're not thinking about that door opening, that they're just working, right? So it could be very noisy. And I even have a bunch of friends that have booked cruise cabins that ended up being really, really noisy because they're on the other end of a staff door. So, just some things to keep in mind when booking. If you can avoid booking on those ends, I would say, on the aft and the bow. I would avoid those.
Yeah, we had one of those once, Scott. We call it the haunted cabin because on the side of it was an interior cabin, and on the side away from the door, there was scratching and rolling and all kinds of stuff going on all night. We was like, what is going on over there? So we asked the crewman, we said, hey, man, this cabin's haunted. What's going on over there? And they laughed. They said, oh, we'll show you. They opened up that crew door like you're talking about, Scott, and said, you go down this hallway and to the left, that's where all of our stuff is. Just exactly what you're talking about.
Got it. Got it.
Also, what Scott was saying, for somebody who is prone to motion sickness, that's always kind of a concern in the back of my mind. Although you guys know I take a lot of stuff to make sure I don't have the problems of motion sickness. But if you are in one of those aft cabins, you might want to know which way the bed is facing. Most likely, it's facing. If it's facing backwards, I can't see. I'm so prone to motion sickness. I can't really even ride backwards. So I don't want my bed backwards. I want the bed facing the direction that I'm going.
The ship is going. Yeah, makes sense.
So that's something that you might not have thought of, or
never thought of that.
Never had to think about it before. But when you're in it,
great tip. Yeah, when you're in it, like, oh.
Yeah, when you're in it, like, oh no,
make it stop.
I mean, I guess you could. Sleep with your head at the other end of the bed, but
which is a good point in the fact that they can move the beds, not only that, but they can split them too. If you don't want a double bed, you can have 2 single beds.
Yeah, they can split them. They might not be able to move it across the cabin. You know what I mean? So you're facing the other way.
Right.
Yeah, good point. No, I never even thought about that.
Yeah,
I didn't either. I don't really deal too much with motion sickness, but I have friends that do. But I could imagine, that going backwards or feeling like you're going backwards, even on the ship, throw that whole equilibrium right off the ship.
I've even had to move my seat in the dining room if I was facing the wrong direction.
Wow, I never thought of that.
So
so see it the way that you're going out the window.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. Good tips. I love this. Good tips.
I'm learning something already today too.
Right?
Every time we do something, do one of these, we learn something new.
That's why I love it. We see viewers out there. We're truly learning along with you, all of us. All right. So let's go into the next one. I think this will kind of be more like a group discussion, but let's talk about the Know Before You Go cruise cabin choices and the perks that they come along with, right? Because there's certain, not every single one, but there are certain different cruise cabin categories that certain perks come along with, and they're free perks or perks that come along with the room. So are there any perks that come to mind, or any room categories that you have booked that have come with nice perks that you would like to share with our viewers out there?
Definitely. But you want to go first, Elisa?
I'm waiting to hear these perks here, Chet.
Okay.
But something I'm gonna say, something that you might not even consider a perk, because all of the cabins do come with one assigned to them. But I usually really have great luck and experiences with my cabin attendant. Like the cabin steward's knowledge about the ship, about the ports, it's awesome. And if you get them talking, they are so happy to share whatever they know. So, we don't think of that as a perk, but it is a perk. It is a perk. You don't need to only have a concierge level cabin to have that specialized service if you would like it.
That's true. Very true.
And that brings us to the suites. We've done a couple of them. And the stuff you get with them is fantastic. Guys, the ones we've done, we've gotten double points towards our next level status. In other words, it's like doing 2 cruises in one. Just one perk you get there. Another one, sometimes you get spa access for free for the whole week.
Mm-hmm.
You got your own customer service desk, no waiting in line at the service desk.
Yeah.
You got you got butlers if you're in places like the MSC.
Yes.
Priority boarding and tenders. You get to go first on everything, right? If you want to. You got concierge to make reservations for you. Mm-hmm. You've got, you're separate. Some of them have separate restaurants that only the suites can go to. or at least, very least, they have their own section in the dining room so that you never wait. You get run right in.
Nice.
And if you want to go to the steakhouse, you got priority reservations there, at other specialty dining, and the list goes on and on. That's just some of the perks you get when you book these suites.
That's amazing. So it's almost like you sort of gain loyalty without like loyalty status, right? It's almost like you go from whatever status you are to almost the highest status, or even above the highest status. Maybe some of the highest status doesn't have priority reservation at the steakhouse. Maybe that's only just for the suites.
You can be a first-time cruiser, and if you're booking a suite, you're treated like you're that platinum or diamond. Okay.
Right. Absolutely. And the priority boarding and the priority boarding and the tenders, that really comes in handy too.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That sounds nice. I also enjoy those bathrobes, the big fluffy bathrobes. And you don't have to be in a suite sometimes you can get them. And I know on Carnival they will get you a bathrobe, but they can if you ask. I think Disney provides them as well if you cruise on Disney.
Can I have a bathrobe?
Well, that's it. The great suite experience though, like the last one we did on MSC, you get your own pool out there. So there's only 200 people limited to this whole area of the ship. Has its own elevator. So if you're going between the 4 floors that make up the area of the yacht club, you got your own elevators, no waiting for elevators, and you got your own restaurant. You got a couple of bars, hot tubs, no waiting at anything. You want a chair moved to the shade, a butler moves it for you. It's an experience. What? It costs more, but it's because it's worth more.
This is how the other half cruises, huh?
I want to go on a yacht. I want to go on the yacht club.
We want to go on the yacht club.
I mean, okay, so I've seen the videos. I just, you don't know until you experience it. So it's great to have all different kinds of experience levels on this podcast, and all different experiences out there on all the different lines, because I heavily cruise Carnival. I mean, look, I have a Carnival Destiny shirt on right now as I'm sitting here recording this podcast. So Destiny doesn't even sail anymore. That tells you how long I've been sailing on Carnival for. So
aren't you glad you got the t-shirt?
But it's great. It's great. All right. So let's move on to the question of the cast. I love this. Oh, I love this.
Oh, yay.
Question of the cast. Okay. So where was your favorite cruise cabin, the company, the ship, and the type? Elisa, why don't you kick us off? Your favorite cruise cabin ever.
Isn't that hard? That's so hard. You have had such a good time, and we really we adopt those cabins, right? We think of them as our cabins. Whether you went yesterday or last year or whatever, that was my cabin. I usually go for an Oceanview cabin, lower deck, midship, because of my motion sickness concerns. But when I sailed on the Independence of the Seas, I actually had a forward-facing ocean view room. I think it was on deck 8. And yes, the view was amazing. That cabin had 2 portholes, larger than the normal ones on the Oceanview rooms, and it had 2, and they happened to overlook the helipad.
Okay.
I love that cabin. I thought it was such a different thing, and it's spacious, and the 2 portholes and the view. Yeah, I really like that one.
I love it. I love it.
Oh,
sounds awesome.
It does sound awesome. Man, I could sit here all day and tell you all my favorite cabins. I'll just go real quick though. Obviously, one of them is that MSC cabin we had on the seaside. It had a massive balcony, massive. We could have put 100 people on the balcony, I think. And it was the butler service, of course, and all the things that come along with the yacht club experience in a suite. Yeah, that was one of our favorites. We had the same kind of experience in a cove balcony on the aft of the ship, wake view on the Island Princess. Fantastic. But, and hearing Elisa talk, just so many different I'm all these favorite cabins of mine are rolling through my head now.
Yeah.
Independence of the Seas, we had a window view overlooking the interior of the ship, watching people walk up and down the promenade deck. I love that. Sitting there watching the nightlife go by. There's just so many great balconies, interior rooms that we loved because we wanted to sleep in a bat cave, and you close the door, no light anywhere, no sound. Yeah, and the ship vibrated just right.
Best sleep ever.
Yeah, I mean, oh gosh, guys, so many favorite cabins. We could almost do a whole nother show just on that. But really, if I had to pick, it'd probably be that MSC Seaside balcony suite.
Okay, I like it. I'll have to report back after I have my first yacht club experience. Hopefully 2025, end of 2025, or maybe 2026. But let's hope. But I don't know. Okay, so you said, Elisa, right? We adopt these cruise cabins, right? And I want to ask everybody out there. This is like a second question of the cast, right? Do you also adopt the people and the memories that you had in that cruise cabin and on that cruise, right? You say, okay, you remember that cruise cabin you were just talking about, Chet, right? Now, do all those memories start to come back of that cruise? You're like, remember that, I remember, right? And it's all still linked to that cruise cabin, right? I can remember an extended balcony room, and of course I did say to avoid if you are prone to sickness on the aft of the ship, but I wasn't, and the person I was traveling wasn't, and we had an extended balcony, which is kind of like a cove balcony, but it's an extended aft view, and it just had a really big balcony. The room was really spacious, and I booked that room 3 years in a row, back to back, with different people. Yep. I had a PVP that would put it on hold. I said, I love this room. I love this room. And it was on the Dream every single time. Dream. And it was around the same time, right around Halloween. And she said, do you want your extended balcony? I said, yes, please, I do. Like, I have it on hold for you. Thank you.
Good.
Go ahead, Lisa.
No, you. I wanted to see what you were going to say. You were ready.
Cabin 11202 on the Carnival Magic. We did the same thing, Scott, 3 years in a row. It's at the forward of the ship. Of course, it's a handicap thing, so we knew it'd work from a wheelchair. Yeah. But it's got a secret door on the side that's not marked or labeled. And if you open that door and you go out, all that front deck in front of you is for anybody who can find it. But there was never anybody there. So if we're in the cabin looking out the window, we just had an open deck in front of us out the front of the ship, or we could go through the secret door that I'm now telling you about. It's on deck 11, and go through that door, and it'd take you right out to that big, wide open balcony on the front.
Don't blame you. I don't blame you. I would have booked it too. Don't blame you.
We did. I'd forgotten about that too, Scott.
Well, when you said secret door, I was just on the Carnival Firenze, and I kind of had a secret door. It was to the second bathroom. I had no idea that room category had 2 bathrooms. I was like, this is awesome.
Wait, you had 2 bathrooms in your room?
Yes, it's like it was. I later realized or was told that it was a deluxe ocean view. I just thought it was an ocean view, but it was a deluxe ocean view. It was really a 1 3/4 bath situation. So one bathroom had everything: shower, toilet, sink. The second bathroom had a sink, shower, and tub. A tub.
Yeah, I saw your video and I was like, what thing's got a tub in it? Yeah.
Yes.
I have to go check that out. I must have missed it. Oh my God. I watched all the other Firenze and I watched the Alaska. I went back and I watched the Alaska again. I must have missed that room tour. I got to go back.
Go back.
Crazy.
I was pretty excited and surprised.
Yeah.
That would be really cool. 2 bathrooms. I guess you couldn't get that on all Carnival ships. I think that's like I don't know to the Costa class. Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's only on those, but I was surprised by it for sure.
God, so awesome. So awesome. All right. I think that brings us down to our bottom here. This has been episode number 6 of the Conscious Cruiser. This episode was Know Before You Go, cruise cabin choices. do we have any parting words from my wonderful co-host?
Oh my goodness. Just get out there and cruise. But there's also lots of ways to narrow down that choice for your cruise cabin. So watch those videos if you can.
That's right.
I'm glad to be a part of a team with Scott and Elisa that's going to bring information that'll help you know before you go so you can have the best cruise ever.
That's right. That's right. And as am I am looking forward to this every single week, getting together with you guys, getting together with our viewers. And also remember, we are live on Spotify the same exact time as this. So 8:30 in the morning, 8:30 in the morning,
Monday
Morning.
EST. I was trying to get the EST.
Yes.
Make sure to either listen on Spotify on your way to work, on your way to the gym, on your way to the cruise port, or just on your way somewhere, driving the dogs around. Take a listen to the Conscious Cruiser on Spotify. Also, make sure to check out all of our channels on YouTube, all of our separate individual respected channels. I am Scott from Controversial Cruising. Next to me, I have Chet from Sea Leg Journeys. And then right under me, I have the wonderful Elisa from Elisa's Adventures in Cruising. So guys, definitely we will see you next week. Thank you so much. And have a great week out there. And the know before you go approach to cruising and travel. Bye, guys.
Nice.
Yeah.
Bye.